Well, breaking news, a power outage forced road closures in the northwest part of the valley this afternoon. Thousands of customers are still without power. 13 Action News reporter Austin Carter joins us now live from Rainbow and Craig with more on what caused this outage. Austin?
Yeah, Tom, and this all happening after a piece of a patio awning was picked up by a gust of wind and flew right into the power lines here behind me near Craig and Rainbow. That originally putting 29,000 NV Energy customers without power. That number is now down to 7,000. That piece of awning is now down. Crews did remove it, but let's go ahead and show you some pictures tweet out from Las Vegas Fire Rescue showing that awning and the power lines this afternoon. Now, a neighbor tells me that a dust devil came through this area and had pieces of an awning in it. That's when there was some sort of an explosion from what he heard, and then he saw that awning piece hitting the power lines. Now, obviously, that piece had to be taken down by NV Energy crews, and they did so rather quickly since we got out here this afternoon. Now, it appears that the traffic lights in this area are again working. I can definitely tell you Craig and Rainbow back open, everything back to normal, but originally lights along Rainbow between Craig and Alexander were out. There was definitely some congestion along Rainbow right at Cheyenne as well, and even some lights on Tenaya were out as well. So that congestion definitely building, but it seems like things definitely are getting better. Back out here live, if you do come across any intersections and the traffic light is still out, it is your best bet to treat it like a four-way stop. Now, NV Energy does tell me that they are still working to restore power. Again, 7,000 people here in the Northwest still without power, and we'll keep you posted on those restoration efforts on air and online at ktnv.com. For now, I'm reporting live near Rainbow and Craig, Austin Carter, 13 Action News.
All right, thank you, Austin. Well, Henderson police say a violent armed robbery led to a deadly officer-involved shooting this morning. Now, this happened just before 5 o'clock near Gibson and Trail Canyon. Officers identified the suspect vehicle on their way to the original scene. They tried to conduct a traffic stop, but that vehicle kept on going. That driver eventually stopped and then ran. Investigators say he pulled out a gun, and that encounter ended in a shooting. That suspect was pronounced dead on scene. And this is the third officer-involved shooting in Henderson this year. There have been more than 20 throughout our valley so far in 2018. We have an interactive map of all of these shootings on our website at ktnv.com. Well, Nevadans recently honored former prisoners of war and those listed as missing in action. 13 Action News reporter Nina Porshunkala spoke to one of our own local heroes whose story has inspired others to serve our country.
Tom, Dean Whitaker was a prisoner of war. The former Army second lieutenant was captured in Germany during World War II. He thought he wouldn't make it, but now he's in his 90s. He formed a bond with a local teen, inspiring him to become a local Marine.
I got some touch-up to do on the bottom.
Dean Whitaker is always busy.
I swim every day.
He's far more active and stronger than many people his age.
I am 93.
But I guess it only makes sense. After all, this former Army second lieutenant survived Germany after being captured by Nazis. He was just 19 years old.
The German civilians were shooting at me.
He met Lucille and married her shortly after he was freed. 70 years later, they're still together.
Life has been very good to me.
Korea Socks helps in taking care of Dean and Lucille.
Make sure you drink water.
Over the years, her son Emiliano formed a bond with Dean. His story was the last push Emiliano needed to join the Marines, telling his mother,
This country gave me a lot, and I want to return with something.
Dean and Emiliano continue to talk. The veteran and former prisoner of war constantly giving this 19-year-old Marine advice. Dean once thought death was coming for him in Nazi Germany. But here he is today, telling his story and inspiring others.
Enjoy that life and take care of everybody.
And one thing that veterans like Dean are asking from people like us is to live life and recognize the freedom we enjoy right now is made possible because of the sacrifices they made. Tom?
Yeah, we thank them both for their service. Thank you, Nina. Well, right now, thousands of people are in downtown Las Vegas for the Life is Beautiful Music Festival. It's the 6th year for this event. The 3-day festival will wrap up tomorrow night. And if you want to take a look at all the sights and sounds from Life is Beautiful, we have a photo gallery on our website at ktnv.com. Well, the rain has stopped in the Carolinas, but those floodwaters continue to rise. Hurricane Florence passed through the Carolinas just a week ago, but now runoff from high elevation areas are threatening low-lying parts of the coast. A South Carolina mayor says damage from Florence to his town tops the devastation from when Hurricane Matthew dumped a foot of rain on that area 2 years ago. The governor is expected to fly over the town to assess the situation. And Nevada's very own Task Force 1 is set to return soon. The 16-member team has been in the Carolinas conducting dozens of water rescues. In fact, one of the cities they worked in was so thankful for their help, they actually honored them with a key to the city. The team is scheduled to get back into town on Monday. A national park in Hawaii has reopened after being closed for more than 4 months because of the Kilauea volcano. The volcano's latest eruption caused widespread damage to park infrastructure and has dramatically changed its landscape. The eruptions have also destroyed hundreds of homes outside the park while changing the popular Summit Crater inside the park. A letter from the attorney for Dr. Christine Blasey Ford says she has agreed to testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee. Ford has accused Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh of sexual assault. ABC's Kenneth Moton reports senior White House officials have said they do not see this as an agreement to testify.
Dr. Christine Blasey Ford has accepted the Senate Judiciary Committee's invitation to testify, although there are still details to be worked out. Her attorney responding to the latest deadline from the committee this afternoon saying, "We are disappointed with the leaks and the bullying that have tainted the process. We are hopeful that we can reach agreement on details." Republican Senate leaders had agreed on Friday night to push back their own deadline amid ongoing negotiations with the woman who has accused Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh of sexual assault. Kavanaugh has denied the allegation against him. President Trump, who had been uncharacteristically subdued in response to Kavanaugh's accuser, turned critical on Friday, tweeting, "If the attack on Dr. Ford was as bad as she says, charges would have been immediately filed." That tweet sparking outrage on Twitter and the hashtag #WhyIDidn'tReport, with others who say they survived sexual assault telling their own stories. Senator Susan Collins from Maine, a key Republican vote, also critical of the president's tweet.
I was appalled by the president's tweet. We know that allegations of sexual assault are one of the most unreported crimes that exist.
The vice president, speaking at the Value Voters Summit, joined a chorus of Republicans affirming support for Kavanaugh's confirmation, even before hearing from his accuser.
I believe that Judge Brett Kavanaugh will soon be Justice Brett Kavanaugh and take his seat on the Supreme Court.
Blasey Ford's decision to appear before the committee sets up a high-stakes hearing next week that will give Kavanaugh's accuser the chance to tell her story publicly for the first time. Kenneth Moton, ABC News, Washington.
Metro is looking for the driver in a hit and run that left a woman in critical condition. Now, this all happened last night around 11:20 on Boulder Highway north of East Harmon. Officers say they received a call that a person was lying in the road after being hit by a vehicle. A witness told investigators that a beige Chrysler 300 hit that woman and then kept on driving. If you have any information, you're asked to call Metro or Crime Stoppers. Looking ahead now, former First Lady Michelle Obama will be here in Las Vegas this weekend headlining a voter registration rally. The organization When We All Vote is hosting that rally at Chaparral High School near Twain and Sandhill from 4 to 6 p.m. tomorrow. Michelle Obama is a co-chair of that organization, which encourages people to vote. Well, there's a new place for your dog to play in Henderson. Today, Desert Pulse Park celebrated its big grand opening. It includes Dakota Dog Park. It features a dedicated area for small dogs and another for large dogs. It's located on Pulse Avenue near Lake Mead in Warm Springs. A handful of city and community officials were on hand for a ribbon cutting ceremony this morning. That 5-acre park also includes picnic areas, a climbing wall, and a playground area. Well, chaos breaks out when a student gets into a scuffle with a school police officer. That violent struggle is caught on camera, a witness detailing what caused that ordeal to spiral out of control. And saying goodbye, a college unites to honor a student allegedly stabbed to death by a stranger on a golf course. Plus, new details emerge in the case of a doctor and his girlfriend accused of sexually assaulting women. Authorities explained how that couple supposedly tracked down their victims.
And fall officially begins in 2 hours about, and yeah, we're going to deal with summer for a little bit longer. That full forecast minutes away.
A A driver gets out of his car to record as a student tackles a cop to the ground. Class had just let out when a school resource officer in San Jacinto, California, started to break up a fight near campus. He was soon swarmed with students, and it appears some of them tried to wrestle another student away from him. One student who witnessed the entire encounter says the officer went up to a boy after he hit a girl in the face.
The security guy said, "You don't touch a woman, you're gonna be arrested," and then that's when the student was pushing the security guard.
Now, that officer then tried to subdue the student with a baton. Pepper spray was used to disperse some of those students. No word on what, if any, charges will be filed against that student. The young college golf champion found murdered last Monday was remembered today at Iowa State's football game against Akron. ABC's Joe Torres shows you how that community is mourning.
Celia Barking Arosamena remembered Saturday at Iowa State, a moment of silence.
Please join in a moment of silence as we remember Celia Arosamena.
And a video tribute to the 2018 Cyclone Female Athlete of the Year.
I'm very proud of being a Cyclone, and it makes me really happy.
Iowa State's marching band spelled out her initials on the field. She was a rising star. She won a major college golf championship just this year.
It was huge because, I always wanted to win a tournament for Iowa State.
But her life tragically cut short. The Iowa State college student was golfing by herself in Ames, Iowa, Monday morning. After her golf bag was found unattended, investigators then found her body in a nearby pond. She was stabbed several times.
I don't think you can put a timeline on how long it'll take for this community, this institution, and our athletics program to ever overcome this.
Police eventually arrested 22-year-old Colin Richards.
Richards had several fresh scratches on his face consistent with a fight, and he was attempting to conceal a laceration on his left hand.
Richards, according to court documents, had recently told one person he had, quote, an urge to rape and kill a woman. Arosamena's hometown in Spain held a vigil earlier this week to remember the champion athlete. I'm Joe Torres, ABC News, New York.
From Contact 13 now, a new warning from the FDA about flea and tick meds we use for our pets. It says the pills and chews listed on your screen have a pesticide that can make dogs and cats sick. We're talking tremors, no muscle control, and even seizures. The FDA now wants those labels to be more clear. It says the medicine is still for sale because they work for most animals without any issues. The best thing you can do is just talk to your vet about what medicine is best for your situation. If your pet does have a reaction, get them to the vet right away. And if that medicine was topical, wash the area with soap and water and then call the vet. The FDA says to report any kind of reaction. Well, new details emerge as authorities build the case against a reality TV doctor and his girlfriend accused of drugging and sexually assaulting women. ABC's Marcy Gonzalez reports prosecutors say they're looking at over a dozen new leads and say those crimes could date back as far as 2 decades.
Overnight, authorities releasing new details on their investigation into this California surgeon once featured on a reality TV show.
You seem too perfect. What's wrong with you?
And his girlfriend, Grant Robichaux and Sarissa Riley, charged with sexually assaulting 2 women. But investigators now say they know of more than a dozen potential victims, with allegations going back as far as 2 decades, saying the pair preyed on women in bars and possibly on dating apps like Bumble and Tinder, where Lauren Hayden says she met the 38-year-old doctor last year.
He started trying to tear my top off. When I was saying no, it was like he wasn't even hearing me.
The Orange County District Attorney's Office says in April of 2016, Robichaux and Riley supplied multiple drugs to a woman before raping her. The woman then reported the attack to Newport Beach police. 6 months later, investigators say the pair drank alcohol with a woman at a bar until the victim was no longer conscious, and later sexually assaulted her, saying she awoke and screamed for help until a neighbor called police. And investigators believe there could be many more victims in other parts of California and the country.
We're going to do all we could do to bring justice for these victims.
The couple denying all allegations of non-consensual sex, their attorneys questioning why it took so long to file charges.
If the police and the district attorney's office was so concerned about these allegations, one would think that Grant and Sarissa would have been arrested long ago.
The district attorney's office detailed the timeline of their investigation overnight, saying initially the victims were reluctant to move forward in the process, adding that accessing and decrypting digital evidence in the case, including thousands of videos recorded by the couple, took months. Both Robichaux and Riley are out on bail, expected to be arraigned next month. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Overnight, a round of severe weather struck the U.S. and Canada. There was major damage in Ottawa after a tornado tore through the area. Debris flew through that area as the twister peeled parts off of buildings. A tractor trailer was left shredded across a highway. Several injuries were reported in the region. The southern part of that system caused massive flooding in the central parts of the U.S. More than 15 inches of rain fell in Oklahoma, submerging roads and stalling cars. And just south of there in Dallas, a highway flooded, bringing traffic there to a standstill.
Now, 13 First Alert weather.
Good afternoon, everyone. Outside, you know, it might be the first day of fall. Well, officially in about 2 hours. Doesn't feel like it, though. Taking a look at the cameras, all three of them showing blue skies across Las Vegas. A lot of sunshine out there. Warming us up, though. 98 degrees current temperature here in Las Vegas right now. 77 in the mountain, a little cooler up there. 97 prim. A couple hundreds, especially along the river. 111 right now at Lake Mojave. Whew, a little warm for September. Winds around 13 miles an hour. Pick up a little bit, not too bad. We did have a couple gusts here and there around 30. Nothing crazy, though, today. Tomorrow, winds will pick up a little bit more, it looks like. LG forecast showing you things are pretty moderate throughout the region. They are starting to uptick because we are in that fall season. The nights are cooler, things able to bloom. So that's why they're seeing higher numbers in the summer. October outlook, well, no surprise here. It looks like we're going to be warmer than average. A 60% chance of us being hotter than normal during the month of October. Little surprise here. Looks like we may actually have a chance of being wetter than normal during October. A 40% chance, that's it, of seeing above normal rainfall. But we're right on that line of a good chance of seeing normal rainfall. So it doesn't look like it's going to be super active, but we might get one storm in here that dumps just enough rain to be above average, which isn't much, though, for the month of October. Tonight, temperatures in the mid-70s, clear skies around the region, winds not too bad. Tomorrow, there's your winds, a little breezy, up to 20 miles an hour, gusts up to 25 or 30. Highs, still hot, 98 degrees here in Las Vegas. Getting outside tomorrow, pretty much everything looks all right. If you want to go running, maybe don't do it in the middle of the day, still approaching 100. That sun shining, a little warm. Oh, I wish I had better news for the first full week of fall, but look at those numbers. Upper 90s every day and a nice string of 99s. We might even hit 100 by the end of September again. Overnight lows in the mid-70s, so a little bit of a break during the overnight hours of that heat.
Yeah, summer's just trying to hang on. Thanks, Dan. Well, you might have been eyeing them this week. Apple's new iPhones are out. However, they come with a pretty cringeworthy price tag. The company offers a financing program, but is it a good deal? And officials find more than just fruit in a shipment of bananas. Law enforcement officials accidentally make a drug bust while accepting a donation. All right, well, the new iPhones are out, and Apple is advertising a payment plan through them. Scripps reporter Jace Larson tells us what this plan means for you and why it might actually be a better deal for Apple.
There is definitely a fascination with the latest Apple iPhones. Well, today the new iPhone is out, and there's a lot of people oogling them, trying to figure out how they're going to afford to buy one. Some models run above $1,000, and many of us are not going to pay for it up front. Apple offers an iPhone upgrade program. It allows you to get the latest iPhone every year. But if it's your first time, here's something important to know. Getting into the program requires a credit check. Experts tell us that applying for credit too often, like the iPhone program or maybe a car, a house, or another credit card, well, all that can lower your credit score if you do it too often.
It's going to make a much bigger impact depending on your credit history and the length that you've had. And if you've had a very long history, 5, 10, 15 years of doing this, the weight of a hard inquiry really isn't going to impact you that much. Talking maybe 1 to 5 points. If you have a shorter credit history, it really could actually have an impact, and I've seen some situations where it could be as much as 25, 30 points.
But here's something else to keep in mind. The Apple Upgrade program means if you keep upgrading every year, you're going to continue to have a monthly payment unless you stop upgrading. Colin Overweg is a financial advisor.
In order to take advantage of the program, basically say we're going to sign up for another 24-month contract before yours even ends.
If you're someone who's going to buy the newest iPhone every year, well, then these plans might be for you. But if you're hoping to get rid of your monthly cell phone loan payment eventually,
my favorite type of phone isn't the iPhone 10 or the Galaxy 10. It's one that's paid for.
I'm Chase Larson.
Well, it's a case of something that just isn't what it appears to be. In Houston, a donation of a pallet of bananas to a prison turned out to be $18 million worth of cocaine in disguise. The 540 kilos were found under bundles of actual bananas. Two sergeants made that discovery when they went to pick up the delivery at a port. U.S. Customs and DEA agents responded and seized those drugs. Well, it's a sight and sound that might bring feelings of dread to some of us, but a garbage truck is a sight to behold for a pair of toddlers. We'll be right back. All right, all that excitement there was the sight and sound of a garbage truck in Tucson. It can only be described as a moment of pure joy for a pair of soon-to-be 3-year-olds. Meet Caleb and James. The toddlers love catching that truck as it makes its way down their street. James's mom took this video. In it, the boys are in such awe of the truck's tricks that they're silent. The driver took notice of the pair and actually gave them an extra show. He politely declined an interview. He said he wanted to make the focus to remain on the kids. And here's a look at what's coming up in tonight's primetime lineup right here on ABC. At 5 o'clock, college football takes over with Stanford taking on the Oregon Ducks. At 8:30, a special edition of 13 Action News. At 9:30, Inside Edition, followed by 2020 at 10. Then, of course, join us again for 13 Action News live at 11.
Well, outside, you know, it might be fall in 2 hours from now, but the weather does not know that, as we are going to see summer temperatures throughout the week. The only relief we get are during the overnights when we drop in the mid-70s. A lot of sunshine every day. Winds might pick up a little bit tomorrow, but nothing too bad. But fall is up in the north, not down.
Not here. I mean, pushing 100 in.
I know. The latest
squeezing out
100 ever is October 4th.
Wow.
We're talking end of September here, so.
Yeah,
it's pretty bad.
Squeezing out that last bit of summer, right?
Yep.
Well, that's our news for right now. Stay with us for World News up next. We're always on at ktnv.com. Thanks for watching, everyone.